You cannot have my her. She is my woman alone.
I don't want to see you.
Please just hear me out.
Imagine loving someone so much that letting them go almost destroys you. And when they come back, they're no longer the same person you lost. This is where our story begins. Grab your popcorn for this episode 2, as the story is about to take another twist. Aaliyah didn't rush, but every step felt heavy. Her assistant, Hannah, hurried behind her with a tablet in hand. CEO Johnson, tomorrow you have the tech summit at 9, then the investor brunch at. We'll review later, Aaliyah said calmly. Her voice was smooth, controlled, like she had rehearsed this version of herself in the mirror. I just need a moment to breathe, a moment to forget the voice that had called her name at the airport, a moment to erase the way her heart had betrayed her and jumped. She reached the door to her presidential suite, swiped the card, and stepped inside. Cool air, quiet luxury, floor-to-ceiling windows. Everything felt big, clean, and under control. Then a hand caught the door before it fully closed. Her body stiffened instantly. She didn't need to see his face to know who it was. Aaliyah. She pushed the door hard. Slam. The wood shook. For 3 seconds, there was silence on both sides of the door. Her hand was still on the handle, her chest rising and falling faster than she wanted. Then it came. Knock, knock, knock. Not loud, not aggressive, just stubborn. Aaliyah, he said through the door, his voice low and rough. Please open the door. I just want to talk. Her jaw tightened. Talk, she called out. About what exactly? About how you told me you didn't love me. I already heard that speech. Aaliyah, don't say my name like that. She snapped. You lost that right. Out in the hallway, Jinwoo closed his eyes for a brief moment. He looked nothing like the soft boy she used to curl up with on the floor of their tiny apartment. His hair was styled back neatly. His dark suit fit his body perfectly. His expression was sharper. But right now, sitting in front of her door, he felt like that same desperate man again. Behind him, his bodyguards shifted awkwardly, completely out of their element. Boss, one whispered in Korean, this is a 5-star hotel. People are watching. Boss, you are blocking the corridor. Boss, this is not very Mafia. Jinwoo didn't even look at them. Shut up, he said quietly. He knocked again. Aaliyah, please. Just 5 minutes. I'm not asking for your forgiveness. Just your time. Inside, she rolled her eyes. Her fingers tightened on the remote she was holding. She wanted to throw it at the wall. Or at him. Or at herself. Jinwoo slowly slid down to the floor and sat with his back against the door, long legs stretched out. The guards looked horrified. Is boss sitting on the floor? Boss, we can get you a chair. No, Jinwoo said simply. I'm fine. He was not fine. But he was not leaving. A couple walked by, staring. Is that Kang Jinwoo? The woman whispered. The one from that scary family? Why is he on the floor? Maybe he did something wrong to his wife. The man shrugged. He looks like a man in trouble. Another guest discreetly lifted her phone and started filming. Real-life kdrama, she whispered. Inside the room, Hannah peeked through the peephole, then covered her mouth. Oh my God, she whispered. CEO, he's really sitting on the ground. Aaliyah refused to look. I don't care. He looks sad, Hannah added carefully. Sad doesn't erase what he did, Aaliyah said, but her voice was soft. Another knock. Aaliyah, he didn't sound like a Mafia heir. He sounded like a man drowning in regret. She squeezed her eyes shut. Jinwoo, leave. I have meetings. I have a life. I'm not standing on the other side of this door, crying over you. She said it like she was confident. Her eyes were already burning. On the floor, Jinwoo's fingers curled against the carpet. I'm not asking you to cry over me, he said. I'm asking you to let me say what I should have said a year ago. She laughed once, bitter. That you lied? That you were a coward? That you decided what was best for me without asking me? Yes, he whispered. And that I was wrong. Her heart thudded hard. He had never said those words before. Wrong. He had been stubborn, proud, silent. The Jinwoo she loved almost never admitted mistakes. He always swallowed guilt and turned it into sarcasm. But this version, sitting in the hallway with his expensive suit wrinkling and his pride on the floor, she hated that some small part of her wanted to open the door. Hannah touched her arm gently. Do you want to talk to him? She asked quietly. Aaliyah's answer was instant. No. She walked away from the door, deeper into the suite, to the table where her laptop was open and documents were waiting. I came here for business. Not for a man who left me in pieces, she murmured. If he wants to sit on the floor, that's his problem. Back at the door, Jinwoo dropped his head back against it and stared at the ceiling. His guard crouched beside him. Boss, this is not the life I imagined when I joined the Mafia, the man muttered. I thought there would be cars, money, respect, not following you to beg your ex-wife. Then quit, Jinwoo said without looking at him. The guard sighed. The other guard added, Boss, if your cousin sees a video of this online, we're all dead. Then make sure it doesn't go online, Jinwoo muttered. If anyone posts it, by the platform. The guards stared at each other. Boss thinks he's her level now, one whispered. He's not, the other whispered back. You two are loud, Jinwoo snapped. They straightened immediately. Minutes passed, maybe 20, maybe 30. Time blurred when all you had was the memory of someone on the other side of a door. Finally, a hotel manager approached cautiously. Mr. Kong, he said politely, we respect you very much, but some guests are uncomfortable. Perhaps you could continue this discussion inside the room or, Jinwoo asked, turning his head slowly. Or, not on the floor, the manager finished nervously. Jinwoo exhaled. I'm leaving, he said, though every part of him resisted. Aaliyah, he said, I know you don't want to see me. I know I don't deserve even your anger. But I'm not going to stop trying. Not this time. As he walked down the hallway, one of his guards asked carefully, Boss, are we retreating? Jinwoo's eyes stayed on the carpet. We're not retreating, he said. We're planning the next move. Next move? Yes, he muttered. If she won't open the door, then I'll find another way to stand in front of her. Jinwoo did not sleep that night. Not even for a second. He lay on the cold leather of the back seat while his driver and guards whispered among themselves in the front. The neon lights of Seoul passed over his face. Pink, blue, red. Colors that made him think of the world Aaliyah lived in now. Bright, loud, full of movement. Unlike the small life she once shared with him. His chest ached as he replayed every second of her voice through the door. You lost the right to chase me. Love didn't keep me safe. You made me feel worthless. He gripped his jacket until the seam strained. He deserved every word. Jinwoo inhaled and stared at his phone. He typed Aaliyah's name into the search bar again. This time, he didn't brace himself. He should have. The first thing that appeared was a huge banner headline with her photo. Aaliyah Johnson, the tech revolutionary changing Asia. She stood on a stage in a crisp cream suit, braids falling over her shoulders, confident eyes fixed on an auditorium full of business leaders. He clicked the article. It described her as a visionary, a genius, one of the most powerful foreign CEOs in Korea. His chest tightened. He clicked another. The woman every investor wants to work with. Another. Aaliyah Johnson's comeback is nothing short of legendary. His hands shook. He opened a video clip, her speaking at a major tech summit. Thousands of people listened. Cameras flashed. Investors nodded, as if she controlled the future with her voice alone. She looked fearless. She looked untouchable. She looked whole. And she had done it all without him. His guard leaned over again. Boss, she's more famous than our boss's boss. The other guard whistled softly. Boss, she is shining like a goddess. Like with aura. Jinwoo didn't look up. He closed the video and stared at the phone screen until his reflection stared back at him. Messy hair, dark circles. A man who looked like he'd lost a war. Myung cleared his throat. Boss, do you regret letting her go? Jinwoo didn't lift his head. Regret, he said quietly. Regret is too small. His voice dropped lower. I destroyed the best thing I ever had, and she rebuilt herself without me. His chest clenched painfully. At the airport, he murmured, I thought I saw the girl I loved. His fingers tightened, but that wasn't the same woman. That was someone I can't reach anymore. Silence filled the car. Myung hesitated before saying, Boss, maybe you shouldn't chase her. She's too big now. Too above us. Jinwoo finally looked up. His eyes were sharp, defiant, angry at himself, the world, fate, everything. That's the problem, he said quietly. I didn't chase her before. He exhaled shakily, and she left. Another guard added softly, she didn't just leave, boss. She flew to the top of the world. They were right, and it hurt more because deep inside, Jinwoo knew one ugly truth. Aaliyah didn't glow like that when she was with him. She glowed after she walked away. He had been her anchor and her burden. Now she was a storm, beautiful, powerful, impossible to stop. He wiped his face with both hands. My wife, he whispered under his breath, became a billionaire while I was hiding her from my enemies. Ex-wife, one guard corrected. Jinwoo threw a cold stare. The guard shut up instantly, but the word lingered in Jinwoo's chest like a knife. Ex-wife. He swallowed hard. His phone buzzed. A notification popped up. Aaliyah Johnson to give major speech today at the Seoul Global Innovation Conference. Jinwoo stared at it. Then he whispered, I'm going. His guards panicked. Boss, no. That's an event for CEOs, not Mafia. Boss, you're not invited. Jinwoo didn't care. He took a deep breath. Myung, get me a suit. Myung blinked. But boss, you're already wearing a suit. A better one. Jinwoo snapped. If I'm going to watch her, I'm not going to look like a broken man. Myung nodded. Yes, boss. Jinwoo straightened his posture, smoothed his hair, and exhaled once more. He wasn't ready for what he'd see, but he was going anyway, because the truth had finally hit him. He didn't lose Aaliyah because he didn't love her enough. He lost her because he didn't love himself enough to fight for her. And now, he was ready to bleed for her. The rooftop party shimmered, with warm lights, slow music, and the soft hum of powerful conversations. It was the kind of event where CEOs lied politely, investors smiled tightly, and everyone pretended to be richer than they actually were. But Aaliyah didn't need to pretend. She belonged here now. Her cream dress flowed around her legs, her braids falling down her back like a crown. People gravitated toward her naturally, wanting her attention, hoping for her smile, desperate for her approval. She gave them all the professional version of herself. Calm, elegant, in control. But inside she was tired. So tired of pretending that seeing Jinwoo earlier hadn't shaken her foundation. She stepped near the balcony railing, wanting air. That was when she felt it. His presence. She didn't need to turn to know. He was behind her. She could feel the shift in temperature. The air thickened. The music faded. Her heartbeat stuttered. Jinwoo. He approached slowly, carefully, as if one wrong step might make her disappear again. He stood just far enough not to touch her, but close enough to block the world behind them. Aaliyah, he said softly. She closed her eyes for a second. His voice always found a way into the parts of her she wanted to bury. Go away, she whispered without turning. I can't. She opened her eyes, jaw tightening. She turned around sharply. Her gaze hit him like a slap. He looked different in this lighting, sharper jawline, hair styled perfectly, black suit hugging his body like second skin. But his eyes were the same. Soft, searching, full of 1,000 apologies that never came on time. He swallowed. You look. Don't start with compliments. She cut in. You didn't want me when I was wearing cheap clothes and living in a matchbox apartment. He flinched. I always wanted you. You didn't act like it. She shot back. You acted like I was a burden. He shook his head quickly. Aaliyah, no. That's not. Then what was it? Jinwoo? Explain it to me. Right here. Right now. Why did you throw us away? He blinked, breathing hard. This was the first time she asked him directly, and it was tearing him apart. He looked down at his hands, unable to meet her eyes. I was scared, he admitted quietly. Of what? She demanded. Of losing you, he said, voice cracking. There are some things I did not tell you about me, and there are some bad people that found out about you. They threatened me. They said if I didn't break up with you, they'd make you disappear. Aaliyah stared at him. For a moment, the world stopped spinning. Then she said, in a whisper, so your solution was to break me yourself? His head snapped up. Aaliyah, that wasn't protection, she said, voice trembling but strong. That was betrayal. He stepped closer, desperate. I thought if you hated me, you would leave Korea. You would be safe. But I wasn't safe, she said. I was heartbroken. He inhaled sharply, guilt flooding his eyes. I thought distance would save your life. That distance almost killed my spirit, she said. I cried every day for weeks. Jinwoo. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't understand why the man who held me every night suddenly treated me like trash. Her voice cracked, and she looked away quickly, blinking fast. The rooftop lights glimmered off the tears she refused to let fall. Jinwoo reached for her hand slowly, as if afraid she would break into pieces. This time, she didn't pull away immediately. His fingers brushed hers gently. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I didn't protect you. I destroyed you. I know that now. I've replayed that night 1,000 times, wishing I chose differently." She let his hand linger against hers for 1 heartbeat, 2. Then she pulled away. Hard. "You think sorry fixes it?" she asked, voice rising. "You think I was scared is enough? Do you know what fear looks like, Jinwoo? It looks like being abandoned by the only person you trusted in a foreign country." He tightened his jaw. "You didn't deserve it," he said quietly, "but I didn't deserve you either." She laughed bitterly. "Stop talking like a martyr. You're not the victim here." His nostrils flared. "I never said I was. But you need to know, I never stopped loving you." Aaliyah froze. Her breath hitched. Her fingers curled at her sides. "Don't say that," she whispered. "Don't you dare say that now." "It's the truth," he said fiercely. "I loved you then. I love you now. I'll love you until—" "Stop it," she snapped. People nearby turned to look, startled. Aaliyah took a shaky breath and lowered her voice. "You saying those words now is cruelty," she said softly, "because I needed them a year ago, and you gave me silence." Jinwoo stared at her like she was both the wound and the cure. "Aaliyah," he whispered, "I didn't know how to protect you without breaking you, and I chose wrong." She swallowed. "You didn't break me," she said. "You changed me." He frowned. "What do you mean?" She lifted her chin. "You turned me into a woman who doesn't believe words anymore. Only actions. And your actions told me I wasn't worth fighting for." He took a step closer. "Then let me fight now." "No," she said quickly. "Not because you regret the past. Fight because you understand who I am now." Her eyes hardened. "I'm not the girl who waited for you in a tiny apartment." He nodded slowly. "I know. I'm not the woman you can push around anymore. I know. I'm not here to be someone's weakness." "You never were," he murmured. She stepped back. "I'm leaving," she whispered. "This conversation is over." He panicked. "Aaliyah, please don't walk away again." She shook her head and turned. But before she entered the building, she stopped and said one last thing, quiet, calm, sharp. "You didn't lose me because enemies threatened my life. You lost me because you didn't trust me to walk through danger with you." And she walked away, leaving Jinwoo standing alone under the golden party lights, breathing hard, chest heavy, heart breaking again. This time with no one to blame but himself. The morning after the rooftop confrontation, Jinwoo woke with a headache, not the kind caused by alcohol, but the kind caused by a woman who refused to leave his mind. He barely slept. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the look on Aaliyah's face when she said, "You didn't trust me." Those words hit harder than fists. His guards watched him drink cold water straight from the bottle in the car, looking like a man who survived a storm only to walk into another one. "Boss," Myung whispered, "you look broken." "I'm fine." "You look like your soul left your body." "I said I'm fine." "Boss, should we buy you vitamins?" "Myung." "Yes, boss." "Shut up." Myung slapped his mouth shut, but he and the other guard exchanged a look. Their boss was not fine. Not even close. Aaliyah, meanwhile, started her morning with elegance. She wore a fitted navy dress, subtle gold jewelry, and a confidence that made entire rooms straighten their posture. She had a meeting with a major investor, Korea's most handsome investor, actually, Park Seo-joon. Tall, polished, the kind of smile that bought loyalty without words. His tailored gray suit hugged him like the fabric was in love with him. He stood when she walked in. "Aaliyah SSI," he said warmly, "I'm honored you agreed to meet me again." She smiled politely. "You show potential as a partner. I don't mind giving smart people my time." Seo-joon smiled wider. "You know how to compliment a man." "I know how to motivate one," she replied, simply. Seo-joon looked absolutely charmed. Everyone could see the chemistry. Everyone except Aaliyah, who was too focused on business to notice that Seo-joon had softened his voice, leaned forward a little too often, and looked at her like she was a painting he wanted to buy. But someone else noticed. Someone whose jealousy was already at boiling point. Jinwoo walked into the same hotel lobby with his guards behind him, because of course fate was cruel, and froze when he saw Seo-joon and Aaliyah walking side by side. Talking. Laughing lightly. Standing closer than he liked. Way closer. Seo-joon handed her a document. Their fingers brushed. Aaliyah didn't pull her hand away fast enough. Jinwoo felt heat explode in his chest. His guard whispered, "Boss, you're gripping the railing too hard." "Boss, that railing is very expensive." "Boss, your eyes are turning sharp again." Jinwoo didn't hear them. He walked straight toward them, each step like a heartbeat getting louder and angrier. Aaliyah saw him first. Her smile faded. She hated that her body still reacted to him before her mind could stop it. Seojun noticed her change in expression and turned. He said politely, "Kong Jinwoo-sasai, I've heard of you." Jinwoo didn't care. He didn't bow. He didn't force a smile. He didn't bother pretending. He looked directly at Aaliyah. "So this is what you're doing now." Her eyes narrowed. "Working? Yes, Jinwoo. Some of us have a job." "It looks like you're doing something else too," he muttered, glaring at Seojun. Seojun raised an eyebrow. "Are you implying something?" Jinwoo stepped closer to him. Not close enough to fight, but close enough to intimidate. "You tell me," Jinwoo said with a cold smile. "Why are you standing so close to her?" Seojun blinked. "Because we're discussing business." "That's not what it looks like." "Well, it's not your business," Seojun replied calmly. Jinwoo's guard Myung whispered behind him, "Boss, please don't punch a billionaire in public." Aaliyah exhaled sharply. "Jinwoo, move." "No," he said without hesitation. "I'm not letting you walk around with men who look at you like." "Like what?" she challenged. "Like they want something from you." Seojun raised a brow. "And you don't." Jinwoo shot him a murderous glare. "Not your concern." Aaliyah stepped between them before Jinwoo launched himself at Seojun. "I'm not your wife anymore," she said firmly. His jaw ticked. "My feelings didn't get the memo." Her heart kicked painfully in her chest. So did her anger. "You don't get to be jealous," she said. "You chose to walk away from me. Now walk away again." Jinwoo breathed in slowly, deeply, like he was swallowing pain. "Jealousy isn't a choice," he said. "If it was, I wouldn't feel like strangling this man right now." Seojun's eyes widened slightly. Aaliyah shook her head and looked away. "I'm done with this conversation," she said. "Seojun, let's go." She walked away. Seojun followed her. And Jinwoo stood frozen. Frozen in a moment where he saw his replacement walking beside her. A man who fit into her world better than he ever did. His guards approached, carefully, like approaching a wild animal. "Boss, are you okay?" Myung asked softly. Jinwoo stared at Aaliyah, laughing at something Seojun said. He swallowed. "No." Myung nodded. "Should we get ice cream?" Jinwoo glared at him. "No." "Should we kidnap the investor?" the other guard suggested. Jinwoo stared harder. "Definitely no." "Should we?" "What we're going to do," Jinwoo said finally, voice low and dangerous, "is make sure no man stands beside her long enough to take her from me again." The guard blinked. "Boss, that sounds like a threat." "It's a promise," Jinwoo murmured, and his gaze stayed locked on Aaliyah. Aaliyah's return to Korea was supposed to be professional, clean, structured, a simple business expansion. But nothing about her presence stayed clean for long, not when whispers started spreading through Seoul's underworld. Kang Jinwoo's woman is back. The ex-wife who made him fall apart. She's important to him. Use her. Danger had a way of smelling weakness. And Jinwoo had been weak the moment he whispered her name at the airport. It began subtly. On the second day, Aaliyah noticed a man pretending to read a newspaper outside her hotel lobby. He didn't turn the page once. On the third day, a woman in sunglasses stood outside the cafe she liked, too still, too quiet, too observant. On the fourth day, Hannah whispered, "CEO, that motorcycle has followed us since the last 3 red lights." Aaliyah looked out the tinted window, and the rider turned away too quickly. Her stomach tightened. Jinwoo's instincts sharpened the moment he saw a shadow where it shouldn't be. He and his guards were eating in a quiet hotel restaurant when his gaze snapped to the balcony. A man dressed like a tourist aimed a camera toward the parking lot, not toward scenery, but toward Aaliyah's encrypted car. Myung glanced up. "Boss, that man is not a tourist," Jinwoo said coldly. "He's positioning surveillance." Myung stiffened. "Should we remove him?" Jinwoo stood. "I'll do it." He crossed the room silently, grabbed the man by the back of his jacket, and slammed him against the wall outside the restaurant. The man gasped. I'm just taking pictures." Jinwoo's voice dropped into a low growl. "You think I don't recognize black serpent training posture?" The man froze. Jinwoo leaned closer, voice deadly calm. "You don't follow her. You don't breathe in her direction. If I see you again, you won't walk home. He released him, letting the man stumble away in terror. Myung joined him outside. Boss, this is getting serious. It was already serious, Jinwoo said, jaw tightening. Now it's getting dangerous. That evening, Aaliyah was reviewing contracts in her suite when she heard a soft beep. Her laptop screen shifted to black before lighting up with a message. System detected unauthorized access attempt. IP location. Seoul. Hannah gasped. Someone tried hacking your network. Aaliyah's heart dropped. Her company's firewalls were strong, very strong. This wasn't casual hacking. This was targeted. She quietly shut her laptop. This is crazy, she whispered. Someone is watching me. She stood pacing. For the first time since arriving in Korea, she felt a tremor of fear. Not panic, not dramatic fear, but the kind that crawled up the spine, slowly, the kind that whispered, "You are not safe." Hannah hesitated. Should we call security? Aaliyah exhaled. "I am security," she muttered. "I built the system they're trying to break." Still, her chest felt tight, and she hated that her first instinct was to call Jinwoo. She shook her head. No, she told herself. I can handle this. But the universe didn't care what she wanted. Later that night, Aaliyah left her suite to get fresh air on the rooftop garden. When she came back down, she froze. Her hotel room door had a new lock, a silent, sophisticated, almost invisible secondary locking mechanism. One she didn't install. Her eyes narrowed. She typed in her passcode. The door opened. She entered slowly and found 3 armed men in black standing inside. She gasped and stumbled back, reaching for her phone. CEO Johnson, one of them said quickly, bowing slightly, "We're here to protect you." "Protect me?" she repeated. "Who hired you?" The man exchanged looks with his partners. Jinwoo stepped out from behind the living room wall. Aaliyah's heart dropped into her stomach. Her shock turned to anger. So fast, it felt like fire exploding in her chest. "What are you doing in my suite?" Jinwoo lifted both hands slowly, like she had pointed a gun at him. "There have been multiple threats. I'm handling." "Without my permission," she yelled, stepping back. His guards winced. "Aaliyah," Jinwoo said softly, "I'm not trying to control you. I'm trying to keep you alive. I don't need you deciding how I live." He tried to step closer. She stepped back again. Her voice trembled. "Do you think I'm helpless? I built a billion-dollar company. I survived Heartbreak. I survived you. I don't need bodyguards sneaking into my room because you think I can't handle myself." He flinched. "I know you're strong," Jinwoo said quietly. "That's why I'm terrified. Strong people die because they underestimate danger." "Then let me decide what danger is," she said. "Not you." Jinwoo swallowed, his voice dropping lower. "If something happens to you, I won't survive it." She froze. Her chest tightened painfully. She hated that his vulnerability still touched her. She hated even more that her voice shook when she said, "My safety is not your responsibility. Not anymore." And with those words, she dismissed the guards. She sent them all out. Even Jinwoo. He walked to the door slowly, pausing only once. He looked back at her. His eyes held pain. "Aaliyah, someone is watching you. Not because of who you are, but because of what you meant to me." Her throat tightened. "I didn't ask to mean anything to you," she said softly. But they both knew she still did. He left quietly. The door shut behind him. Aaliyah locked it. Then she pressed her back to the wall and let herself shake for a moment she couldn't control. Fear, anger, confusion, and something else she didn't want to name. Outside, Jinwoo stood in the corridor, fists clenched. His guard whispered nervously, "Boss, does she hate you?" "No," Jinwoo said. His voice was tight, pained, determined. "She's scared." "That's worse." Aaliyah had reached her limit. Between Jinwoo's sudden return into her life, the emotional cracks he kept reopening, and the constant shadow of his mafia world hovering over her, she felt like she couldn't breathe. She needed a break. She needed control. And she needed Jinwoo to back off. So she made a decision. A petty, dramatic, slightly reckless decision. But a necessary one. She hired a fake boyfriend. Not a random man, a professional actor. Handsome, charming, polite, with a jawline that could cut glass and a smile that sold romance dramas. His name was Min Jae. When she entered the restaurant to meet Seo Jun for dinner, Min Jae walked beside her holding her hand. his palms slightly sweaty because frankly, even he was scared of what they were about to do. Seo Jun stood when Aaliyah approached, but his polite expression dropped the moment he noticed Min Jae. "Oh," he said slowly. "You brought someone?" Aaliyah smiled sweetly. "Yes, my boyfriend." Min Jae grinned widely and waved at Seo Jun. "Hi, I'm Min Jae. I'm her." Aaliyah squeezed his hand hard under the table. Min Jae winced. Her very committed boyfriend. Seo Jun blinked twice. "Boyfriend. Boyfriend," Aaliyah repeated proudly. But the real storm entered 10 seconds later. The restaurant doors opened, and Jinwoo walked in. His guards tried to pull him back, but he walked straight through like a man on a mission. His eyes scanned the room once. He saw Aaliyah. Then he saw Min Jae holding her hand. His entire soul left his body. His steps were slow, lethal, like a panther closing in on prey. His guards whispered violently behind him. "Boss, calm down. Boss, remember the breathing exercises. Boss, please don't flip the table." He didn't hear them. He only heard the sound of Aaliyah's laugh. A laugh she gave Min Jae. It stabbed him straight through the ribs. He stopped at their table. Min Jae immediately froze like someone had unplugged him. Aaliyah took a slow sip of water, pretending not to notice the fire burning beside her. "Hello, Jinwoo," she said lightly. He stared at Minji's hand, still covering hers. "Who is that?" Jinwoo asked, voice dangerously calm. Aaliyah smiled sweetly. "My boyfriend." Min Jae nodded too quickly. Yes, I am the boyfriend. Very boyfriend. 100%. Aaliyah stepped lightly on his foot. He winced, but kept smiling. Jinwoo's eyes darkened. "Myung," he said to his guard without looking away from Min Jae. "Why is he touching her?" Min Jae nearly fainted. I'm allowed to touch her," he squeaked. "By who?" Jinwoo asked coldly. "By her?" Min Jae said weakly. For the first time in a long while, Jinwoo found himself completely powerless, and she had done nothing but let another man hold her hand. Jinwoo leaned down, bringing his face so close to Min Jae that their noses almost touched. "You think you can try to take her?" Min Jae panicked. No, I would never try. Well, I'm trying because she paid me, but, no. Aaliyah's eyes widened. "Minji!" Jinwoo froze. Seo Jun, sitting across the table, choked on his water. The entire restaurant went dead silent. The actor covered his mouth, horrified. Oh no. Forget what I said. I'm just a normal boyfriend. Not paid. Totally real. Aaliyah rubbed her forehead. Jinwoo slowly stood up straight. "You paid him?" "My personal life," she said coolly, "is none of your business." He laughed once, a bitter, disbelieving sound. "You hired a man," he said slowly, "to pretend to love you because you didn't want to deal with me?" She folded her arms. "Correct." His stare sharpened. His jaw clenched. His breath got shallow. "And this is how you want to play?" "It's not a game, Jinwoo," she said. "It's distance." He stepped closer, not touching her, but close enough that she had to tilt her chin to meet his gaze. "I can forgive a lot of things," he said softly, "but I cannot forgive another man pretending to be me." Aaliyah's heartbeat skipped. Min Jae whispered to Seo Jun, "I think I'm going to die today. Please tell my manager I'm sorry." Seo Jun whispered back, "Stop talking." Jinwoo leaned down, slightly, voice dropping into something dark. "This man," he said, nodding at Min Jae, "could never even dream of loving you the way I did." Aaliyah swallowed. "You don't get to say that," she whispered. "I do," he said, "because even now I can see it in your eyes. You're not with him." She looked away quickly. Min Jae raised his hand timidly. "Actually, I think she is with me. I mean, technically." For pairs of eyes turned toward him, he lowered his hand. "Never mind." Aaliyah took a deep breath and stood up, slipping her hand out of Minji's. "You want honesty, Jinwoo?" she said. "Fine. Here it is. I hired him because being around you is exhausting. Because you confuse me. Because you hurt me. Because you don't let me heal." His expression cracked for a moment. "I needed space. I needed a wall. I needed something to remind you. And myself that you don't get to walk back into my life with emotions and expect me to open the door." Jinwoo stared at her, chest rising and falling heavily. "And this is your wall?" he asked quietly. "A fake boyfriend?" "Yes," she said. "A very effective wall." Min Jae nodded proudly. "Thank you, Aaliyah elbowed him. Jinwoo shook his head slowly. You can build your wall, he said softly, but I'm not walking away from it. She froze. His eyes softened, pain mixing with determination. I lost you once because I stayed silent, he said. I'm not staying silent again. She inhaled sharply. Jinwoo. He stepped back just enough for her to breathe. You can hire 10 fake boyfriends, he said. I'll still find you. Stop chasing me, she said quietly. I can't, Jinwoo replied. You taught me how to love. Now you want me to forget. She turned away. He watched her go. And for the first time since she returned, he realized she wasn't just running from him. She was running from the parts of herself that still loved him too. The rooftop of the hotel was usually peaceful, wide open sky, soft lights, a gentle breeze carrying the scent of jasmine from the rooftop garden. On most nights, the place was empty except for distant city noise and a few lonely stars. Tonight, it held a woman who was breaking quietly. Aaliyah sat on the floor, near the railing, her knees drawn to her chest, her braids falling forward like a curtain hiding her face. Her shoulders trembled as she wiped her cheeks for the 100th time, trying to stop tears that refused to obey her. She didn't cry often anymore. Powerful women weren't supposed to cry. But Heartbreak had its own rules. And seeing Jinwoo again, hearing his voice, feeling the echoes of everything she once wanted, it all cracked her armor. She buried her face in her arms, letting another small sob escape. Why does he still affect me? Footsteps approached, softly behind her. Aaliyah stiffened. She knew those footsteps. She cursed under her breath. Please, she whispered without turning, not right now. Silence. Then a low voice, careful, gentle, filled the air behind her. Aaliyah. Her chest squeezed painfully. She didn't look back. Go away, Jinwoo. I can't. She let out a shaky, exhausted laugh. You always say that. And it's always true, he murmured. She closed her eyes tightly. Her heart hurt in a way she couldn't hide. He moved closer, slow steps, cautious, as if she was a fragile thing he might break again. When he reached her, he didn't sit too close. Just close enough that she could feel him. His warmth. His regret. His presence. Her tears betrayed her, slipping hot and slow down her cheeks. Jinwoo noticed. He paused, and his voice softened further. Aaliyah, you're crying. No, I'm sweating, she snapped. He almost smiled, almost. She scrubbed at her face in frustration. Why are you here? I saw you walking up, he said quietly. You looked not okay. I'm fine. You're crying. I said I'm fine. Her voice cracked, and the rooftop fell silent again. Jinwoo stared at her profile. The woman who once laughed at his stupid jokes, danced in their tiny living room, woke him with kisses, and trusted him with her heart. Now she was crying because of him. His chest tightened painfully. He slowly sat next to her, not touching, but close enough for her to feel that she wasn't alone. For a long moment, they said nothing, just breathing, just hurting. Then she whispered, voice small, when you pushed me away, it felt like everything inside me died. Jinwoo's heart shattered inside his ribs. I know, he whispered. I hate myself for it every day. I kept asking myself what I did wrong, she said, her voice breaking. Why you didn't want me? Why I wasn't enough? Why I was so easy to discard? You were never easy to discard, he whispered, voice trembling. She shook her head, wiping tears angrily. I felt worthless, Jinwoo. Worthless. Do you understand that? He swallowed hard. I made you feel that way, he said, voice thick with guilt. I wanted to protect you. But all I did was break you. Her lip trembled. You broke me, she repeated, softer this time, like she wasn't telling him, but confessing it to herself. Jinwoo inhaled shakily. You didn't deserve any of it, he murmured. I should have trusted you. I should have fought with you, not without you. She stared at the city lights, eyes glistening. I would have walked through anything with you, she whispered. Danger, threats, fear, all of it. I would have chosen you every day. He closed his eyes, his own breath unsteady. And I chose wrong, he said. I chose fear. And I lost you. Aaliyah looked at him. Then, really looked. He looked older, tired, haunted. But he also looked sincere, fragile even, like a man standing in the ruins of his own mistakes. Her voice wavered. You didn't just end our marriage. You ended me. Do you understand how hard it was to rebuild myself? His eyes reddened slightly. I know, he said, because the woman standing in front of me now is stronger than anything I ever deserved. She looked away quickly. Stop saying things like that. But it's true. Stop, she repeated softly. He turned toward her. I'm sorry, he whispered. If sorry means anything anymore. If it doesn't, then I'll spend the rest of my life showing you that I regret it. Aaliyah let out a small, broken breath. She didn't want to forgive him. But forgiveness wasn't the issue. The real problem was that her heart still reacted to him, still softened, still ached, still remembered. She finally whispered, I'm scared, Jinwoo. He looked at her gently. Of me. Of us, she admitted. Of how I feel around you. Of the fact that I can still cry because of you. I'm scared because after everything, you still matter. His breath hitched. Aaliyah. She shook her head. I'm not ready, she whispered. My heart isn't healed enough to do anything with this. He nodded slowly. I understand. You don't get to ask me for love again, she said. I won't, he said. You don't get to ask for trust. I won't. You don't get to ask for another chance. I won't, he echoed. She looked confused. Then what do you want? He looked at her with an honesty he had never shown before. I want to stay close enough, he whispered, to protect you, even if you never love me again. Her eyes softened just a fraction. Jinwoo. He brushed his thumb under her eye, slowly, gently, catching a tear before it could fall again. She didn't pull away. It lasted 1 second, maybe 2, and then she turned her face slightly, breaking the moment. She exhaled shakily. Don't make this harder than it already is. I'm not trying to make it harder, he said. I'm trying to understand the damage I caused, so I never cause it again. Their eyes met. So much pain. So much history. So much love buried under broken pieces. Aaliyah finally whispered, It still hurts. Jinwoo nodded. It's supposed to, he said softly, when something mattered that much. And for the first time since she returned, Aaliyah didn't run from him. She didn't forgive him. She didn't trust him. She didn't take him back. But she let herself feel the crack in her wall. And Jinwoo felt it too. For the first time, a small part of her heart opened again. Not enough to change everything, but enough to make him hope. The next evening was quiet in Seoul, too quiet for a city that usually hummed with life. A thin mist rolled across the streets, softening the glow of neon lights and hiding shadows in its folds. Aaliyah stood outside the hotel entrance, waiting for Hannah to bring the car around. She had just finished a long investor dinner, the kind that required a perfect smile, perfect posture, and perfect control. Inside, she was exhausted. Her emotions were still tangled from the night before. The rooftop cracks, Jinwoo's apology, the tears she tried so hard to hide. She needed space. Time. A moment where the world didn't demand something from her heart. She checked her phone. Hannah was 5 minutes away. She exhaled, adjusting her coat as the evening breeze brushed her skin. Then, without warning, a black van slowed to a stop across the street. Aaliyah didn't pay attention at first. It looked like an ordinary delivery vehicle, but something felt wrong. It had too many shadows inside, too much stillness, too much watching. She frowned and took a small step back toward the hotel doors. That was when she heard it, a faint footstep behind her. Before she could turn, a gloved hand clamped over her mouth. Her gasp was swallowed by cloth. 2 men grabbed her arms. Another stepped in front of her, blocking her view. Everything happened in 3 seconds. Her phone fell to the ground. A bag went over her head. A strong arm locked around her waist. Her feet left the floor. She kicked. She twisted. She fought. But she couldn't see. She couldn't breathe properly. She couldn't scream. The men moved fast and silent, like they had rehearsed this. Her heart pounded violently. This is real. This is happening. I can't get free. The van door slid open. She was thrown inside. Her shoulder hit the metal floor. Pain shot through her. The door slammed shut. The engine roared, and they sped off into the night. Meanwhile, Jinwoo was in a dim underground room with his guards and 2 mafia informants tied to chairs. They were going through interrogation. Jinwoo's least favorite part of his work, but the part he had become frighteningly good at. He cracked his knuckles once. The informants stiffened. Before he could speak, his phone vibrated. He almost ignored it. Then he saw the caller ID. Hannah, Aaliyah's assistant. He answered immediately. Where is she? He asked. His voice wasn't calm. It was instinct. Fear. Hannah's voice shook on the other end. She's gone. Jinwoo froze. The room went silent. What do you mean gone? I I saw her phone on the ground outside the hotel. Hannah cried. She's not answering. The security cameras, someone disabled them. Jinwoo. I think she was taken. The world inside Jinwoo's mind shattered. He felt it, like ice cracking under pressure. For a full 2 seconds, he couldn't breathe. Then he snapped back. Send me the footage, he said sharply. Every angle. Every second. There is no footage. Hannah sobbed. They jammed the cameras before taking her. Jinwoo's vision blurred red. Someone dared to touch her. Someone dared to take her. Someone dared to repeat the nightmare he spent a year trying to avoid. He ended the call. His guards watched him, terrified. They had never seen him like this. Boss. Myung whispered. Jinwoo stood slowly. His chair scraped the concrete floor. His voice dropped into something cold and deadly. Find the van, he said. Find the plates. Find the route. Mobilize every informant. Every team. I want drones in the air. I want roadblocks. I want the city locked down. Myung nodded quickly, already pulling out his radio. Yes, boss. And bring me, Jinwoo continued, his tone darkening, every man connected to the Black Serpent organization. Now, Jinwoo walked out of the underground hideout, not running, not panicked, but moving with the determination of a man who had nothing left to lose and everything left to kill. His eyes were cold. His jaw was sharp. His heart was a storm ready to burn the world. Inside the van, Aaliyah tore at her restraints. Her wrists bled from friction. Her legs kicked wildly. Her breath came in harsh gasps beneath the cloth. But she refused to be helpless. She forced her voice out. Let me go. A man hissed. Shut her up. A blow hit her ribs. Pain exploded. Her body folded. But she didn't stop fighting. You picked the wrong woman. She spat, even through pain. Do you even know who I am? Silence. Then a chilling voice. We know exactly who you are. Aaliyah froze. Her pulse thudded painfully. You are the one thing Kang Jinwoo can't live without. Her stomach dropped. No, she whispered. Yes, the voice replied calmly. Tonight, he learns what it means to lose everything. Aaliyah's breath hitched. Her heart pounded in terror and rage. Jinwoo, she whispered, voice cracking. It wasn't a plea. It was a realization. He is coming. He would burn the city down. He would tear apart every gang, every street, every enemy. Because the last time he pushed her away, he chose fear. This time, fear wasn't an option. As Jinwoo slid into his car, Myung hesitated. Boss, what do we tell the men? Jinwoo's eyes burned with a fury that shook even seasoned Mafia members. Tell them, he said quietly, whoever touches my wife. He pulled out his gun. Dies. The car sped into the night. The hunt began. Thank you for watching. Is this the beginning of their reunion or the beginning of their destruction? Besties, what's your prediction? What do you think will happen in part 3? Let's talk in the comments. If you are new here, please tell us where you are watching from. We would love to know you. And if you love this story, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your kindness keeps us going. This is Afro Love Diaries, where every heartbeat tells a story.